Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Care Plan. My name is Jackie Boyd. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And I'm the owner and founder of the Care Plan. I've had that privilege and honor for 7 years. We celebrated our 7th anniversary this fall. Hi, so glad you all are here. Thank you for joining. Good evening, good evening. This is the beginning of a new series for us called Getting Cozy with the Care Plan. As you can see, I have all our holiday decorations up, or enough of them, not all of them, but enough of them. And we are trying to get cozy this season. I am so glad to be with you. I hope that you are doing well tonight, and thank you for being in community with me. Please do put in the chat how you're feeling, how you're doing, and what you're here for. I wanted to really this winter take time for us to be together, be in relationship with each other. We're going to be doing a whole series. This series, these next couple of weeks, are going to be about healing, the holidays, and caring for ourselves and each other through the ups and downs of this season. And next month, we're going to be talking about technology and apps and starting the year off right. So keep coming back. I'll be here every Tuesday, probably through March. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Healing for the holidays. I was really inspired to talk about this subject because in our work, we work with individuals and families, of course, who are dealing with health and aging issues, but we also support organizations that are struggling with morale, with culture issues, with recruitment and retention. And so I have the honor and privilege of working with hundreds of people from all types of lives, from all places around our city, our state, and our country. And folks have been hurting. I think many of us have experienced a lot of grief and loss in our lifetimes, but especially throughout COVID. And that's true for me too. Some of you who have been here consistently were with me last year as I was caregiving for my mom. And that was, I've supported caregivers and been a caregiver for 20 years, but it's different when it's for someone that you love. And my mother passed away in April. And so it has been a year of grieving and healing for me, in addition to all of the other things that have been changing over the last few years. We've seen clients suffer through the pandemic. I've certainly had friends and family, just like you have, who have been having a hard time. And I think also sometimes it's just tough to keep yourself motivated. And I wanted to be sure that we talked about healing because I don't think we should just be defined by our trauma or the things that have happened to us or the things or people that we have lost, right? I think it's really important that we as individuals and as a community keep moving towards the light, keep holding that light for each other, find the places that soothe, that ease, that help us feel full and well and okay. And so I just wanted to be in conversation with you around how we heal this holiday season. One of the ways that I think we heal best, and I sort of, because I've been in the medical field for a long time, and also in the therapeutic fields in terms of mental health, I think about healing both as a physical act and an emotional act as well, right? If you think about a wound or an injury, healing takes time. And it takes more time than we like to think or than we hope it will take. And that's just the reality. Whatever timeline you've put on your healing, I think the first suggestion I would make is let that timeline go. There is no timeline to healing. There really isn't. It takes the time it takes. And there's also not a destination point. Healing is not a test. For example, if we think about the body's healing, oftentimes there is a scar or a pain that stays with us when we've experienced an injury. Emotionally, that is true as well. Our brains get rewired through trauma, through grief, through loss. And so it's really important to not think there's going to be a destination where you're going to feel amazing all the time and you're going to be past that loss and you don't need any more healing. Thanks. I'm all good. That's not really the reality for most of us. So I think it's really, really, really important for whoever is watching this to remember to listen to yourself. Don't put a timeline on your healing, and be kind. Be kind to yourself in the process. I'd like to welcome in the folks that are with us. I see people popping in and out. Would love to hear a little bit about how you're doing today, and if there's anything you want to share, please put it in the chat. I'm always happy to have the engagement and have the company. So when we think about healing, as I shared, listening is a key part of how we heal. In particular, listening to yourself. Sometimes healing is about listening to other people, right? You probably have folks in your life or have had folks in your life that care about you and love you enough, or maybe just don't have much of a filter, to tell you when they think you're not okay or when they think you might need to get some other kinds of support. Listen to those voices. Listen to your own instincts about how you're doing and how you're feeling. Notice yourself. Notice your patterns. Are you sleeping well? Are you eating regularly? Are you moving your body in the ways that you can and you want to? Are you spending time with your loved ones? Are you ever laughing or having fun? Sometimes the healing process starts with assessment of what's wrong, what we need, and where we might not be having our needs met. So listen to yourself, listen to the voices in your life of the people who love and cherish you and want wellness for you. So that's, in my mind and from what I've seen with the clients that I've served and the loved ones that I care about, it really does start with that pause, that moment of, ooh, maybe I'm not okay. Maybe I don't need to just keep moving through this. I'll give you an example. I was talking with one of our former clients whose mother passed away a couple of years ago. And it was really terrible. It was during the COVID pandemic. Her mom had passed in a nursing home by herself. And this client of mine just kept kind of reliving it and feeling like it was her fault, even though it wasn't at all her fault. Nor did I feel like it was the fault of the healthcare system, because I knew that the healthcare system was just overwhelmed and everyone was doing the best they could. But she really felt like something else should have been done or different decisions should have been made. And she was feeling guilty. And I talked with her and I just said, we can go about this however you want. She wanted to contact a personal injury attorney. Sure, of course. I'll give you those resources. But also maybe think about talking to a grief counselor, because this woman was having nightmares every night about her mother and her passing, and it was just really, really tough. And I said, you deserve healing and wellness around this. You deserve the time to process it, to get it outside of your head and outside of your body, and have some objective kindness. I think that, for this particular woman, she'll make her choice. She didn't seem that interested in grief counseling, which sometimes people aren't. But taking that moment to pause and notice where things aren't okay, where you're not okay, is critical. And I think the second step beyond pausing, listening to yourself, listening to your loved ones, is really giving yourself permission to seek healing, right? And again, I'm going to make the connection to the physical realm. If you had a broken bone, most of us would not just ignore it and assume it would heal itself. But we do that with our emotions, right? If my clients have a wound, we're going to the doctor, we're getting treatment, we're on antibiotics, we're changing dressings, we're doing whatever needs to happen to help close that wound. But with our emotions and our feelings and our personal experiences, a lot of people just ignore it and assume it will go away or that it will only get better with time, that there's nothing you can do. But that's not true. I think that if we tried to heal ourselves emotionally in the way that we try to heal ourselves physically, we would probably have different outcomes and different perspectives. So I want to encourage you to try to know that you are worthy of feeling better, of being happy again, of not, speaking through tears or making decisions through depression or grief. Think about your emotional pain or your emotional trauma. Think about that emotional pain or trauma in the same way that you think about your physical pain or trauma. If you had a broken bone, you would get treatment. If you are feeling in pain emotionally, maybe there's some things you can try to foster healing in your life. Hi, I want to say hello to folks that have joined. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Jackie, and tonight we're talking about healing through the holidays. This is a conversation, so please do put in the chat what brought you to this space. And if there's anything you're healing from, feel free to share that too. Thus far, we've talked about that healing is about taking a pause, taking stock or assessing where you're at, and noticing that you might be in pain, you might be grieving, you might be depressed, you might be dealing with anxiety. Pay attention to those changes in you, the changes in your behavior and how you feel, in your energy levels. They're probably trying to tell you something. And then being open to knowing that, hey, maybe there's some way out here, maybe there's some resources or a pathway to actually heal, to actually feel better. And if other folks are deserving of that, why would I not be deserving of that? So those are some of the tips that I wanted to share around healing for the holidays. In particular, the reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight and talk about it during the holiday season is because I don't know about you, but the holidays bring up a whole mess of emotions, right? We're here at the end of the year. In most places, in the US at least, it's pretty dark. Many places it's cold. It's not an environment that most of us feel super energized or super motivated during. I have a lot of friends that I say, you're going into hibernation mode, aren't you? I'll talk to you in March, because these months can just be difficult just because of the season. I think also oftentimes there's the idea that we're all supposed to be happy, uplifted, celebrating every moment these couple of months, but that's not how most people I know feel. Most people I know feel pretty stressed because you're doing extra travel or you're buying presents, or, there's these hallmark moments that can be joyful, of course, and traditions that mean the world to us. But there's also moments of stress and sadness and loss about who's not present, or what didn't happen this year, or what did happen this year that was painful. So it's important to remember that however you feel is valid. Whatever you're going through is your private journey. And that you also, in light of those things, do deserve healing spaces and places. So, how do we heal? Once we acknowledge that we might need healing, once we understand that, maybe our bodies or our emotions are trying to tell us something, once we get to that place of acceptance that maybe we're ready to feel better, feel differently about the situation, that's our time. That's our moment to figure out the how. One of my favorite exercises is what I'm going to call in this moment a historical audit. When were other times in your life that you felt this way? And what did you do? What helped get you out of that mindset, right? You are full of your own strengths. You are full of your own possibilities. You are full of your own solutions. What has worked for you in the past? How have you moved through the things that you've dealt with to then be in a place of healing? Think about the things that worked before, right? Maybe when you have gone through hard times before, you started making regular plans with friends, and that helped pick up your mood and remind you that you are loved and cared for and got you laughing and having new experiences. Maybe when you went through a hard time before, you got therapy and you built a relationship with a therapist, and that helped you move through or reflect or change your behaviors. Maybe you joined a support group, or you were in a community of people that were also dealing with something difficult. Maybe you just made time for yourself in your life to grieve, right? Grieving is a part of healing. It truly is. The two go hand in hand. When we're healing, we are often reflecting back on what's happened, feeling bad about where we were, what got us in the situation, what we've been through. Grief and healing go hand in hand. So you might need time to grieve or to honor the person or the things that you've lost, right? So for example, say that you are someone who this year had an unexpected diagnosis and it's changing your life, right? Maybe you were in a certain position in January, and by December your body is different, your outlook is different, your prognosis is different. There is not anything that will necessarily take that away. But if you don't look at it and you don't grieve for what you feel you have lost, or that future that you imagined that may be different now, then you never get to a place where you can really approach a new future or dream a new self. Get to a place where you can have a different experience. We stay stuck in that experience of pain and loss or betrayal or whatever the feeling is. So taking time to grieve, I think, is an incredibly important part of the healing process. And then there are other things you can do. I mentioned some of the resources that are out there, but I also think, as I said, the solutions that we need often live in us. We just might not have given ourselves time to think about it or the opportunity to say, what if, right? So for example, let's say that someone you loved very much died this year, and that is a pain that you're holding through this holiday season. You are noticing at every moment that they're not there, and you are really, really not having an okay time day to day. Grief is part of the act of healing, but so is remembrance and honoring and making gestures to move yourself forward. So for example, with my mom having passed, and truly with anyone who has passed away or died in my life, I always have the need to honor and remember them and keep their legacy alive in certain ways. So for this season, I think I might be able to show you. It was really important to me that we put this particular angel on top of the tree because it was my mom's favorite, and I wanted to be absolutely sure that we honored her with her favorite angel at the top of the tree so that she would be with us, and that she would be remembered, and we could talk about why it was her favorite and talk about her here during this time of year, which was absolutely her favorite holiday, Christmas. And that's part of the healing process, to show, okay, this is something that was important to my loved one. This is a tradition that I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to do that with intention and care. And it is, of course, sad. The grieving happened as soon as we put that angel on top of the tree. But it's also comforting. It's also honoring. And it also means a lot to be able to have signs around of my mom, who we all love so very, very much. So keep in mind that healing is an action. It is a verb. It is it requires movement and momentum. So think about what this holiday season healing could look like for you. What is an action you can take to comfort yourself, to honor what you may have lost or what may have changed this year, and be able to move through it differently? I view it as loosening up the scar tissue, right? Some wounds, when they heal, there's extensive scar tissue. And movement is what helps break that up. It actually helps with healing physically. So I tend to apply the same mindset emotionally. If I stay stagnant, then that's that healing. It may have a skin over it. It may look like I'm okay, but if I haven't moved enough, if I haven't made forward momentum, I'm really still pretty stuck. So I encourage you to take that mindset as well. So I'm going to recap what we've talked about so far. We talked about pausing, listening, and assessing where you're at, what your needs are, how you may or may not be okay, and what you may need healing from. We talked about letting yourself grieve, giving yourself spaces and time to grieve, right? You might want to journal. You might want to listen to meaningful music. You might want to visit a place or say a prayer or do anything else that provides you healing and grieving time. And then you may want to take other actions to honor or remember the person you've lost or the things that have changed. So those are just some ideas and tips. Also, of course, we here at the Care Plan are full of resources. If you are wanting to find a therapist, if you are looking for a support group, if you just want to talk and maybe make some plans for yourself around healing and wellness in the new year, please do. Please reach out. If we don't have the answer, we're probably going to know somebody who does. And I just want to encourage you all to be kind to yourselves. I already know you're being kind to each other because you're part of our community, but be kind to yourselves. Know that you are worthy and deserving of healing. And we're here if you need anything over the next couple of weeks. I know many of you are going to be visiting family or being with loved ones. You probably will be seeing or connecting with your elders and folks that are vulnerable in your life. So if they need any support, resources, things like hospital advocacy, setting up or getting to doctor's appointments, finding caregivers, transitions into senior housing, transitions home from rehab, those are all areas that we can be incredibly helpful and make life a little smoother and more simple for you, and hopefully avoid some of those pain points that then stay with us. So I just want to thank you all so much. It's been a great year here at the Care Plan. I hope that you will join next week to get cozy with me again. And we have comparing notes next Wednesday night, which will be goals and priority setting for 2023. So if you are LGBTQ+, if you are BIPOC, we would love to have you at Comparing Notes. It's a peer leadership circle where we take the time to discuss with each other challenges we're having and offer up solutions, and also skill build together. So thanks for joining. It's good to see you, and I will see you next week, Tuesday, 5 o'clock Central Time. Take good care, and may you have healing this year. Bye, everybody.